Hey, Rio here. And this course is being opened up a little early. Now, what's this course? This is CIT 93 JavaScript online at Fresno City College. And it's opening up a little bit early this year to give students who are enrolled um, at this time. Now, this doesn't mean, right, it matters that it doesn't matter that you watch this early. I mean, I think it might be helpful. Honestly, it depends on like have you done command line? How experienced are you in particular installing of software? If you want a little more time to do those or get some help, which I'm here for that, I want to give you that time. Okay. Now, part of the reason I think this is even more important coming into the fall 2021 semester is that this class has normally been offered in the 18-week mode, meaning 18 weeks. So what we're going to do for this fall semester is we're going to take that all that content, and we're going to provide it to you in a 9-week format. And in that compressed format, I want you to have the best opportunity to get started on the right foot and get your local dev environment set up. So local on your own machine, your development environment, all the things you need, the software, the setup, the connections, in order for you to start this class on a good foot. That's really why I'm releasing it early. And if you're seeing this at the beginning of the semester, that's fine too. Just know that this first couple of days of the semester is going to possibly feel like a bit of work because it does take some getting used to this. And now, some of you may come in having already done some of this, so that's great. And I always say that, if we can help each other, we can get through this successfully. And I'll give you a way to help each other in way of I run a Discord server, but more on that in a little bit. So what I want to do here in this video, besides say hi and tell you why we're releasing early, is really to, help you understand what we're going to be doing and maybe why you want to do it. So the first thing is why JavaScript, right? So in order to kind of talk about this, I'm going to move from this screen over to my browser. Now I use Chrome. I recommend Chrome. Chrome, I found out recently, and I did not know this, is the most popular browser, which is awesome. So I'm actually in Canvas, our system that we use to provide courses at City College. Hopefully you've had Canvas before. If not, this is your introduction. And that when you come into this course, you're watching the video setting in Hello World. Okay, so if I click into here, and by the way, I will talk about just how this course is organized to give you that overview. But one thing you can see right away is that you have to complete things in sequence. So this week 0 is intended for you to do before you begin work on the actual first week of the semester. Okay, so but let's step for a minute. Now I'm just going to come in here because I'm going to show you the topics, right? So I'm going to talk about here for a minute why JS, and then I'll get into the course materials. I'll talk a bit about the hardware that I use, hardware software combination. Actually, I probably should have called this platform, but you'll get the idea. So why JS? So if I go over to RedMonk, and RedMonk is kind of the thing we look at from a industry perspective, like what's the most popular, and this is current, right? So this is of 2021. So the number one programming language is Python. That's so funny that I was looking at Python. I was going to say JavaScript. Now, what's fun for me is I actually teach both of these classes. And here's the deal. I suspect some of you might be taking this first 9 weeks with me in JavaScript and the second 9 weeks as Python, because both of these languages, as you can see, number 1 and number 2, in this list and in many lists that I see, right, are great languages to learn. So I suspect that's a truism. But in this case, you can kind of see where this falls out. So it's fun to be teaching JavaScript. Now, why is JavaScript number 1 is a good question. And let's see in your own mind, do you have an answer to why you think this is true? Well, I can tell you the reason I think it's true is that every web page, pretty much, there may be some exceptions, but I can in Chrome or in most browsers, I can hit inspect, right? I can come over to a console. Now, this is a tool we're going to learn through the semester as well. So there's a console built in here, and I can do console.log, and I can write some JavaScript. Hello world right here. Right? So JavaScript is used to create interactivity for almost the majority, and I almost want to say 98% the last time I looked. So it's used on the client side, and that's how we'll be learning it, but it's also used on the server side. And that's what can make it really popular, is that if you learn JavaScript, and I mean pure JavaScript, not some framework. Now, frameworks are great and really important. And you might be wondering, Rio, already you're talking about terms I don't know. That's okay. Frameworks are just software that other people have built, that allow you to use their implementation of a particular concept instead of writing it yourself. So it's really important to learn vanilla JavaScript, and we actually use this term a lot. Vanilla JavaScript, the just base language, so that no matter what framework you learn later, once you understand JavaScript, it'll be much easier to learn anything else that's written in that. So let me come back here. All right. So JavaScript is a great time to learn it. So course materials, what are you going to need? So for this class, and actually almost all my coding classes for probably the last 2 years, I've switched from using textbook to using Udemy courses. And if you know about Udemy, and I actually have this up on a link right now, this is the course that we'll be using. You may know that these are just basically, somebody recording a course, providing it, and you pay for it. Now, here's the thing. When you look at this today, you will see this course. And this is what I'm part of the reason I'm telling you now. Like, I did this yesterday. I was playing around with getting ready for this lecture yesterday, and it was $16.99. And you might wonder, why the major fluctuation? Well, this is part of what Udemy does, is and this is part of why being here early, what I recommend is just, if you don't already, just sign up and create an account on Udemy. And the reason you want to do that is that you will start seeing their cycle of when prices fluctuate, and you will see, like, I think the lowest I've seen this is $9.99. So what a major fluctuation. So there's a real benefit to you just signing up into the site. You don't have to buy it until you see that price hit the point you want. And also, like, for holidays, they'll run specials. So there's other reasons you want to do that. Now, why do I use Udemy courses? Because they're relatively cheap. Now, from looking at that, you might think, Rio, that's not. Again, the reason you want to get on this site is that you will see these prices vary, and you want to take advantage of the lowness. Okay. So, but the other really great reason I love using Udemy courses, and I want you to kind of get this in your head, is I use a Udemy course like another instructor might use a textbook. Because what I love about these courses is they're taught by professionals in the field. And so what that allows us to do is lean into, and you'll hear this term going through this course, we'll code along with this course. You don't just watch it, you actually get the muscle memory of doing the code. This is part of your weekly assignments, is doing this. And then once you do that, you actually learn. We will then have an assignment together, and then 3 times this semester, we will actually have a development project where you will have a code review with me. And again, we'll see this as we get further into the course. I just want you to know. And this is where you get to really translate what you're learning into apps, right? So, I mean, we use apps every day, right? That definitely could be the part of our description of Hello World, is most of us use apps in some way every day. And I don't know about you, but I often think I understand where they could make this better, or they really hit the mark on this one. But that all comes down to a developer creating an interface and that interface to you that allows you to do something. And what you're learning in this class is how that process, how do we code for those basic interactions. Okay, let me go back here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back here. So this is why I'm talking about the course material now. So if you hopefully didn't get this, I want to just reiterate it. I want you to set up the account, watch the price. The more time you hang out, the lowest you should be able to get it for, I think, is $9.99. Wait for their sales and get it. And trust me, you can ask me questions about this. Okay, now let's talk about, and by the way, when are you going to need it? Week 1. Okay, we're going to use this. As a matter of fact, this is the first assignment in the course, is coding along with this class. So what hardware do you need, or what software combination, what operating system do you need for this class? So I have typically been, over the last couple of years, my main driver has been a Mac. Okay, so a Mac running Mac OS X. I also use a Chromebook, so I run a Linux container. If you don't know what that is, it's just a part of the computer that's set up just to run command line apps. Also VS Code, which is the editor I'm going to recommend. You don't have to. If you have your own, you're welcome to use it, right? Or you might be using Windows. Obviously, Windows is the most popular operating system today. Okay. Now others have challenged it in various ways. And I think from a tablet perspective, right, there are definitely other things more popular than the Windows platform. But for this class, right, what you're not going to be able to, I shouldn't say that. Somebody could try. I haven't had anybody successfully do it. But you will either be on Windows, Mac, or Linux. Okay. Or if you're on something else, let me know. I probably haven't thought about it. But those are the most popular desktop OSs. So I suspect you'll be on one of those. But as I said, I don't see people doing this because you don't typically do development on mobile devices. You can learn coding. There's various things to do that. But for the actual process of coding, that is going to be one of those three is my guess. Everybody falls into that bucket. Now, again, I typically use Mac OS, but I have actually done a switch this summer because I wanted to re-record some of my course content in Windows because most of you are on Windows, and there's been some changes in the way that and we call this the tech stack or the software stack for what's required for this class has changed some. So I really wanted to get my hands back on Windows and do it. And honestly, I'll just say this to kind of complete, but from a technology perspective, being in the technology field, I try not to be so attached to one particular operating system. I think having an experience that you can be comfortable on any of them is probably pretty helpful. Okay. So I've talked about that. So I think I've covered everything. And I'm going to back up just for a minute to end with this concept. You will have, and there's a couple ways I could do this. I could either go next or I could go back to the course here. And I can see, and this is your next video that you're going to consume, but this is just showing you, again, this is a week 0. So intended to be done either on the very first day or before, because you're going to walk through, and these videos have already been recorded. As you can see, these last two, I actually recorded one video just for Mac users to help them through that process as well. And then you'll actually, until you've completed this part, you can't start working on week 1. Okay. But here's the structure. So every Monday and Thursday, we have due dates. And then it's a code along. Now, in this case, for the first one, because of the setup, I didn't put the normal second item, which is a learn together. Okay. So coming back here. So again, you code along with the course, the Udemy course. You get that experience. You have something I want you to accomplish that we together as a class will work on. And then, right, you'll do this for a couple of weeks, and then and again, I'll be talking about this, have the opportunity to actually create something on your own, and then come in for a code review where we actually review your code and have conversation about it with me. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of the course. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for viewing this whenever you do. And I look forward to the next thing. And for you, the next thing is to actually watch. I don't want to touch the mic. I actually did by accident. You want to actually watch the next steps. All right. Peace out.